And I'm curious to know between this dichotomy between development and winning, how can coaches sort of navigate themselves to know which one's right and wrong?
Yeah, and I guess the sort of dichotomy thing is probably the interesting angle, which is almost like it has to be we're either playing to win or we're playing for development, as opposed to placing development alongside winning. And like I said earlier, identify the things that are fundamentally important to you and what your purpose is. So if you're there to win and you say we're going to win at all costs, some people would suggest that's not right. I think if you're clear about the fact that you're going to win at all costs, then you've got to question what it is that you will sacrifice to win. Will you break the rules? Will you not play certain players? Will you play a particular strategy or tactics in the way that you approach the game that enables you to win? Or can you actually do both? And perhaps seeing the development program and winning's all, and sort of competition and winning and all have almost become dirty words in this country. And everybody plays for development purposes. Personal view for what it's worth is that as soon as you put two different groups of players in different coloured shirts and a goal at either end, they're playing to win. And I think often it's the behaviour of the adults that can sometimes be problematic. And I'm minded sort of stuff that I tap into when they do a presentation of two examples of sort of my coaching life when I was on the side of a pitch. The first example, there was nothing on the game. It was organised as a friendly. I'd done some work for a popular fizzy drinks company, working with a group of players that had won streetball competition out in the Middle East. They come over to England. I coached them for 4 weeks, and through those 4 weeks, they played a collection of different fixtures. The final week culminating by playing against a well-respected Premier League academy club. We were 4-1 up after about 20 minutes against this academy, and one of the recruitment officers from the club came across and asked us to take off particular players because they felt they weren't getting out of the game what they wanted to. We took the players off. I think the game ended up being much closer than it was at that particular point in time, but they kind of sent a clear message to me that the status that club felt they held and the way in which that game was going didn't necessarily mean what they thought the game's programme should do. But nothing on the game whatsoever. No one was winning a league. No one was going to win a cup. There was no progression to the next round. It was pretty much just a game for the sake of playing a game. So that was kind of, everybody wants to win, but there's nothing specifically on that game. Yet it still led towards the adults behaving in a particular way, which probably sent a fairly negative message to everybody that was around. The second example was under 18s game. It was a league deciding game going back quite a few years now. We needed to win the game. The opponents only needed to draw the game to win the league. We were 1-0 down at half-time, got back to 1-1 early in the second half. Early in the second half, one of their players, who we targeted as perhaps being a bit temperamental, we'd been fairly lively with her, kicked out off of the ball. Referee didn't see it. I would have been sent off if the referee see it. Referee doesn't see it. Their coach, on their principles, takes the player off because the coach has seen what happened, took the player off. And I probably would have done the same, but what I would have done is taken that player off and replaced him with another one. I'd have made a substitution. This coach took the player off and played with 10 for the rest of the game. We won the game 2-1. We won the league. And at the end, I was intrigued and went up to the coach and said, incredibly impressed by you doing that, but what made you do that? And the coach said, well, that player is going to play in our first team. When that player plays in our first team, they need to understand that if they make that sort of decision on the pitch, the referee's likely to see it, they will be sent off, and their team will play the rest of the game with 10 men. So they need to learn that. This coach was willing to sacrifice a player winning the development league, potentially to teach them a lesson or to support them to understand what was important when they move into the senior team. And those kind of that balance between a coach whose status was far more important to them than it was about the learning experience for the players, versus a coach who recognised that the learning experience for the players was far more important than winning an under-18s league. And both of those two sent quite distinct messages to me when I was relatively young in my coaching career about the type of coach that you wanted to be, the standards that you wanted to uphold, and the way that you would hope to behave.